Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Humanity Matters Weekly. I am your host, Dr. Philip Fletcher, and I hope that you are having a great start to your week. Hey, it's Sunday, April 18th, 2021, and today we're going to dive into what are the voices, the Black voices, if you will, that you need to listen to in the quote unquote Black experience, right? Regarding Black culture. So, as I continue to fight my Wi-Fi issues, hey, join me on my social media outlets. If you would like to, you can find me on Twitter at Phil Fletcher. Find me on Facebook, my Facebook page at Dr. Philip Fletcher. All right. On Humanity Matters, that's where this show is streaming live tonight. Go over to Humanity Matters. You'll see the Humanity Matters logo. You can see that right there in the top right screen. And I would love for you to subscribe and just follow all the great content that I'm trying to put out, content of value that can see you flourish as a human being. That's why we're here, to discuss ideas about human flourishing and those ideas that can contribute to human flourishing. And so go to my website, philipfletcher.org, philipfletcher.org, and I would appreciate you to subscribe over there as well, and it would be a great help to me. Hey, if you are or have followed anything on Fridays, I've got a new midweek episodes that come out, and that is rap, hip hop, and freedom. So for the last couple of weeks, we have looked at NWA, and we looked at their song Express Yourself. Then we looked at J. Cole's Brackets. And then this past week, we looked at Ice Cube and his song Endangered Species. So if you would like to see what is the relationship, if any, between rap and hip hop and the ideas of classical liberalism, libertarianism, hey, jump on over there. You can watch those videos. I try to keep them to about no more than 25 minutes. Bring your young people so that you can sit and listen as well, especially if you have young people that are interested in rap and hip hop. As a warning, those songs are unedited. Those songs do have language, and so keep that in consideration as well. I work hard at seeking to honor the information that is put out by those artists. And so just like if I would be going through the Bible doing a sermon or something like that, I'm going to read the text exactly as it is with all of its intent, context, the words that are being used. So take a moment, go over to Humanity Matters on the YouTube channel, and you can catch Rap, Hip Hop, and Freedom. And those come out on Fridays. And we won't be doing one this coming Friday, taking a break, recock, get some new content ready that's coming out, and looking at some more rap and hip hop artists, because I want people to see that for rap and hip hop, it serves to offer a critique of what is going on in a particular aspect of America in a particular neighborhoods, about particular experiences. And with these rap artists, they coming from different parts of America, different time periods, different life experiences, and they are using that art form to critique government, to critique law enforcement, to talk about entrepreneurship, and those things. Hey, classical liberalism, libertarianism, those support those types of ideas. So I hope you would take a moment and listen to some of those. And hey, we got a lot going on in America. So if you ever just want to send me a question, want to be in the mailbag, send me a question, Humanity Matters Podcast at gmail.com. Humanity Matters Podcast at gmail.com. So currently in Minnesota, Minneapolis, they've got the Derrick Chauvin trial going on. Derrick Chauvin is the officer who is on trial for 3 counts, to include third degree and manslaughter in the death of George Floyd, which happened in 2020. So from what I understand, about 20-30 minutes from there, Dante Wright was shot and killed by an officer. Sad situation for that young man and his family. So prayers go out to that family. But protest and destruction and looting is going on up in that area, sadly. And Maxine Waters was there, and she said some words, and it kind of made you wonder, like, hey, Auntie Maxine, that's what she's called. Should you be saying those things? And from what I understand in the news today, shots rang out in the direction of National Guard who were serving in that area. And so last year, the political system was seeking to hold Donald Trump accountable for what happened in Washington, D.C. on the basis of his words. So the question becomes, should Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Maxine Waters from California, be held accountable for her words as well? I don't know. I wish she would better use her position to represent the people of California, because the people of Minnesota and in that area of Minneapolis, they have Congress people to represent them. So I don't understand why she is there. I mean, she has every right to be there, but they have representation. So this is something crazy to just some crazy things that's going on, which leads us into our topic for tonight. And somebody has sent me a email, a video they want me to look at and get my thoughts on this video. It's about a young Black man who's talking about his experience in Hollywood. And I listened to the video. It's on what's called PragerU. I'm not really familiar with Prager. I know they have an affiliation with a lot of different people who tend towards the right or conservative, vote Republican typically. So I listened to what the young man had to say, and he swam against the narrative, right? He pointed out things like Hollywood is racist, and that there are persons who have made their wealth. He mentions Jordan Peele and he mentions Seth Rogen, who made their wealth on that system, and now they are, not going to tell white stories and not going to hire white actors and things like that. And he began to realize the racism from his perspective that was happening, directed towards Black men and women, but in a soft way. So the person that sent me the email asked me to look through that, and it got me thinking about, as I was preparing for the show tonight, I was like, well, who are the Black voices that we should listen to? Who are the men and women who can inform what is going on and what it is to understand about the Black experience. And so I wanted to share that with y'all today. And, one of the things I was thinking about, we think back to 2020 and everything that happened with the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. You had the protests going on with Black Lives Matter. You started to have the popularity of these different books coming out, and we need to listen to Black and brown voices, quote unquote. You see these on protest signs. People would Facebook them, put it about on Twitter, different social media outlets. But then also we have the popularity of CRT, or what is called critical race theory. Okay. And one of the tenets of critical race theory is the offering of what is considered counter narratives. This is kind of what runs underneath the 1619 Project. Okay. Is these counter in contrast to, say, 1776 and the founding of the country. So you've got, hey, we need to listen to Black and brown voices. And we need to listen to these counter narratives. So what does it look like when a Black voice offers a counter narrative? What does it look like? Is that voice accepted? Is that voice given equal hearing, like the voices that are popularized in news and different media outlets? Are those voices given equal weight in academic settings, universities, 2- and 4-year universities, public schools, elementaries? Are those voices given equal weight? So, it got me thinking, and I was like, well, who are some of the prevailing voices that are put forward as the quote unquote authorities regarding the Black experience, right, in America, and being put forward as those voices that are to be heard, popularized, and celebrated? And, for instance, you've got Kimberly Crenshaw. All right. You have got Ta-Nehisi Coates. All right. You've got Ibram Kendi, Trevor Noah. Now, for Kimberly Crenshaw, she popularized what is called intersectionality. For Ta-Nehisi Coates, he wrote several books. He's given testimony at Congress regarding reparations. He has done some comic book writing in terms of Black Panther and Captain America. I didn't like those. I'm a comic book enthusiast, and those stories were not the best. And in fact, even this past week, Ta-Nehisi Coates took a swipe at Jordan Peterson by comparing Dr. Jordan Peterson. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Comparing Dr. Jordan Peterson to the Red Skull, who was kind of like the embodiment of the Nazis. And then there's Ibram Kendi. Unless you've been living under a rock, Ibram Kendi, he's made popular the how to be an anti-racist and that thought. And then there's Trevor Noah, who's an immigrant to here in the United States, and he has a popular late night talk show. But these individuals, these are the voices that are heard. These are the voices that are put forward as the authorities, those voices that are to be invited to all these spots. And those voices, if you will, are the ones that are informing not just Black America, but they're to be informing America about this is what racism is. This is what systemic or institutional racism is. And to have a thought different than what they are putting forward would be considered heretical, would be considered anathema. I'm kind of using some religious language there, But nonetheless, these individuals, they're kind of put forward as the priests and priestesses, using religious language again, of this thought. And so it becomes, okay, so we hear those voices. And again, going back, 2020, we were heard that Black and brown voices need to be heard. And CRT, one of the things it advances is counter narrative. So is it not possible that there are voices who see American life and consider the phenomenon about racism and thoughts about whether or not there's systemic and institutional racism? Are those voices out there that should have an equal hearing so that people in general, American citizens, can be educated, right? And then look at all of this information that is coming forward and then consider, okay, somewhere in here is the truth. Because if only one side is offered, leaning on John Stuart Mill, how can one arrive at what is true or not? Because there is the possibility that what you hold is not true, or there is the possibility that what you do hold is true, but now you know how to defend it. So who are these counter voices? Well, I did some digging. All right. And if you're not familiar with these men and women, I hope that you would do some Google searching or some DuckDuckGo, however you get your information, and that you would look up their information as well. So you've got information from Ta-Nehisi Coates. You've got information from Kimberly Crenshaw. You've got information from Ibram Kendi. You've got information from Trevor Noah. All right. But then also, I want you to look up this information as well from these individuals. So you've got individuals like John McWhorter. He teaches at Columbia University. All right. I would encourage you to look at him. Now, John McWhorter, he tends liberal, from what I understand and things I've listened to him. He tends to vote more Democratic. Okay, Democrat ticket. All right. So he's a unique case, but he does not agree with the Ibram Kendis or the Kimberly Crenshaws or the Ta-Nehisi Coates of the world. Then you've got Maj Touré, libertarian type. All right. He has got a big platform going into inner city places and giving instruction in classes on proper use of a firearm. All right. And his organization is called Black Guns Matter. And he does some great work, especially on the Second Amendment. Even in this shirt, it's kind of cut off, but it says all gun control is racist. I own that shirt myself. It's an awesome shirt. Next is Kaye James. She was the director of the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. What? Black female conservative think tank? Right. Check her out. Okay. The magnum opus. All right. These are two heavyweights. Fathers, I would look at them as. There is at the bottom Glenn Loury. He's an economist. All right. Teaches at Brown University. Brown. Right. And then Dr. Thomas Sowell. Dr. Loury, Dr. Thomas Sowell. If you don't know anything about Dr. Thomas Sowell, I would encourage you to get all types of books that he has written. He is a beast, right? Nonetheless, the question becomes, have you heard those voices? Have you seen those voices either through memes, articles, books in the news? Has someone talked to you about them, or is tonight the first time you have heard these names? So it's a thing that we're going to tackle when we come back from this commercial break. So y'all stay tuned and be blessed.
Hi, I'm Wayne Cox. I'm a member of the steering committee for Hope Village. This is our founder, Dr. Philip Fletcher. We just like to thank the people of our community who've partnered with Hope Village, because certainly we wouldn't be as far along as we are without your help. But recently we received a generous donation of $10,000. We'd like to try to match that amount. So we'd like your help.
So this is your opportunity, no matter who you are or how much you have to give, to contribute to Hope Village. Please make a donation, share this video and our GoFundMe page with your family, friends, co-workers. Let's make Hope Village a reality here in Conway and Faulkner County as we continue to kill the stigma regarding homelessness. As always, remember to be loved, to be kind, and to be generous. Thank you for your support. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humanity Matters Weekly. I am your host, Philip Fletcher. Hey, check out my nonprofit, the City of Hope Outreach, and specifically seeking to bring housing to the homeless and vets and low-income families here in Conway, Arkansas. And you can check out their website again. So we have been talking about voices. What are those voices that you're hearing? Are you only hearing one side? Maybe you're just hearing from the Coates, the Kendys, the Crenshaws, the Trevor Noahs of the world. And that's what you're hearing. Or maybe you're just hearing about the Souls, the Lowrys, the McWhorters, the Maj Tourés of the world regarding the Black experience. What I want to point out is this. Again, I'm pulling on what was said in 2020 about listening to Black and brown voices, and I'm pulling on this idea advanced by CRT about counter narratives. All right. It is important to understand that Black Americans do not all think the same way. It is important to understand that Black Americans look at economics, they look at involvement with the police, they look at politics, they look at religion, they look at all these different things in a host of different ways. Now, do people, tend toward a particular set of understanding? Well, sure, right? But within the Black American experience, there is a diversity of thought, a diversity of perspective, a diversity of voices who are speaking about what is going on in the United States and what it's like to be someone who lives in this United States who happens to be quote unquote Black. All right. Someone who identifies or is identified as being Black. Here's the other thing we got to remember too, right? Just because you see a person with Black skin does not necessarily mean that they were born here. Remember that. Just when you see someone who has Black skin, that does not necessarily mean they were born here or that they were what is called an ADOS, a descendant of slavery. What I mean is we have men and women who have what we consider will be Black skin, all right, who have been born here. But we also have people who are here from Africa who immigrated here, people from Jamaica who has immigrated here, from the Caribbean who have immigrated here. And their experiences are different. How they approach family, how they approach education, how they approach their economics and their way of life is different. So it's important as you're seeking to understand the Black experience in America, all right, that you listen to a diversity of voices. Now, this is also applicable to those who would be considered Latino. This is applicable as well to those who would be considered Asian in America. All right. This is applicable to men and women and children here in the United States. We all don't think the same. And we have to be careful that when we see an individual, right, that we ask that individual how they see life here in America, how they understand what it is to have a family, what they understand about religion, what they understand about politics, what they understand about, since this is the big thing going on, experience going on right now, interactions with the police. There are going to be some Black Americans who have great interactions with the police department. While there's going to be some, hear this, white Americans who have some very horrible experiences with law enforcement. Think about that. Finally, one of the things we have to do is this. Here's my encouragement. We have a warning and an encouragement. The warning is we have to be careful not to take a lived experience, an anecdote, and take that anecdote and broad brush it as if that is the experience of everyone who looks like that individual. There's too many other variables that are involved. So the other thing that we have to look at is this, that we need to take that lived experience or that anecdote, and then we got to do some hard research and look at data. There's all types of research and data that is out there. Now, when I did statistics and all types of research methods when it came to what would be considered quantitative research and analysis was, you can make statistics say anything. So it's very important that you understand the sample size. Typically that's N equals whatever, right? You understand the method, how they arrived at getting that sample size. That also is very important that you just not look at one variable, but that you look at what is called a multivariate approach. That way you can get a better understanding about those numbers. All right. So in the instance of, sadly, what happened to Daunte Wright or a George Floyd, those are sad, right? But that's also the experience of white males too. Tony Timpa, if you don't know who he is, look him up and what happened to him in Texas. It's also the experience of other non-brown persons. There was a story that came out of California. Okay. I know recently we had the instance of the young man in Georgia who went in and did some shootings, and he killed some Asian women, sadly. And he's going to be held accountable for those crimes. But there was a story that came out of California about an Asian man who attacked a woman because he wanted to retaliate against white people who were, in his mind, responsible for Asian hate. Come to find out, the woman that he attacked was another Asian woman. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful about this road that's leading us down. And so that's why it is important that you listen to a multitude of voices. A multitude of voices. Again, just bringing up our example here specifically regarding the Black American experience. Okay. You have some voices like a Crenshaw, a Coates, a Kendi, or a Trevor Noah. All right. And then you have also a voice like a McWhorter or a Maj Touré or a Thomas Sowell or a Glenn Lowry or a Kaye James. They have as much to say. The Sowells, the Tourés, the McWhorters, the Lowrys, James, they have as much to say as the Kendys, the Coates, Crenshaws, the Noahs, or the person walking down the street with a sign that says Black Lives Matter. Because there are Black people that say all lives matter. Just something to consider on the Humanity Matters Weekly. Hey, I appreciate y'all joining me today. Again, you can connect with me on social media at Phil Fletcher, Twitter. Find me on Facebook, my Facebook page, Dr. Philip Fletcher. YouTube, Humanity Matters. Look for the Humanity Matters logo. As well, you can find me on my website, philipfletcher.org. philipfletcher.org. And are looking to participate in the mailbag, right? You can always send me an email, humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com, humanitymatterspodcast@gmail.com. All right. I am always looking for sponsors as well. So if you would like to be a sponsor and have a video ran, also be available on my podcast, hit me up, pfletcher73@gmail.com, pfletcher73@gmail.com. And then always subscribe to the Humanity Matters podcast, the Humanity Matters podcast, where you can get some other great content. Those release typically 1 to 2 times in a week, and we talk about some similar things, but also we dig into some other stuff as well. All right, so I appreciate y'all very much and look forward to joining you next week. So y'all take care and God bless. When I say your name, it says you exist and that you matter. I can't transform what I don't think exists. I won't transform the person I don't think that matters.